Okay, so this is going to be for my Versa button rope mods. Got some new Hawk Heliums. They're the second generation, I guess. New generation out in 2019. I got these in. They got some straps that come with them. I mean, basically just a strap that has a big buckle on it. I want to go away from that. One, quieter. Two, lighter and less bulky. What I did is I went on eBay, and for $17.99, I basically bought a 1/4 inch of basically winch cable. It is like splicing amsteel blue. It's not technically amsteel blue, but it's got the strength with the low stretch. It already came with a Brummel splice in it, which we're about to do for just the quote-unquote rope mod. As you can see here, this is going to fit on there, but it's going to be a pain to get off. It's not necessarily a bad thing for one end of the line anyway, but I'm going to actually splice my Brummel just a little bit bigger, so it's just a wee bit easier to push on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over the rope mod and actually splicing amsteel type rope, and also going to go over a Whoopie sling that you may or may not have heard of. But basically what that's going to do is give us two different options that we're going to test on the tree, see which one we like best. Okay, so the first thing we did, we're going to actually work on the Whoopie sling. Actually just cut off, basically I'm going to make these about 12 foot. Hopefully I can get them to shrink down to within about a foot diameter. Maybe that'll be the smallest tree that I'll climb. So basically what I've done was cut off 12 foot so I can double that in half, and I also added 2 more feet for the lock Brummel splice. I am not splicing this. I'm not burying the tail end of this rope as long of a fid length as they tell me to, but from everything that I've been reading is that lock Brummel, once you get it through and then the rope back through, basically that's locked. So that the rest is just basically for a little bit of added insurance, but that's personal preference, and I'm not telling you to do it this way. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start working through this splice, and then I'm going to show you what to do on the other end for the Whoopie sling. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark this, just kind of, to be my tail end. What I'm actually going to do is my berry line. Looks like I'm going to go about maybe 2 1/4 or so of actually what I'm going to make my Brummel size, just so that I make sure that I've got plenty of room. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've marked 4 1/4 to give us basically 2 1/8 loop to go over the 1 3/4 Versa button. Okay, so basically I've marked out the length that I want my berry to be. The first mark I made is the mark A. That's the, I guess you could say, the start of the Brummel splice loop. And then the second mark that I made is here at 2 1/4 inches is going to be mark B. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to find my mark here and actually push my fid through the center of the rope. And I want to be sure that I get that completely in the center of the rope. That looks pretty good there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's about right. So from there, I'm actually going to take the tail end. I'm going to put it in this wire fid. You're going to have to kind of help feed this through, but I'm just going to take this through and kind of push it open. The more you push, it's kind of like a Chinese finger trap. So what I'm going to do is basically push that open to help push this through. And you can actually use a fid like we made earlier in the videos to do this. So basically what I'm going to do is go to that point. So basically what we've got here is the Mark 1 and Mark 2. It's kind of hard to see on the line, but you just kind of have to trust me. So where those go together is about right in here. I'm going to slide that up just a little bit. Then what I'm going to do is in my berry length is I'm going to go through and kind of separate that out apart. And I'm going to count down probably about, you can see the V that it makes on here, and probably about 2 of those V's is actually where I want the lock to be. I'm going to go back through the center of the rope. I've got that about right where I want it. Then you're actually going to take the long length of the rope We're going to place that back into the fid here. And I'm going to help by spreading that out just a little bit to help pull this through the center of this. And there we go. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of milk this down. Give me a little bit of a... So that is basically the lock Brummel. So there's the end of our splice. I hope I made it big enough. You're learning with me. But that's basically our lock splice. That is supposed to be able to hold everything. You can tell it's pretty tight right here. So the last thing that we've got to do is actually take this rope where I've got it marked as of here, and I'm actually going to feed this right here a little bit longer from the tail end of this berry length, because I want to make sure that when I pull my fid out, I'm completely through it. I'm going to milk that down just a little bit and make sure that I don't have any strands in the way. I'm going to push this wire fid all the way up to where it comes out right here at the base of the lock Brummel. I want it to come out about right here. I can see it, I can tell that it's there, and I am close. Alright, so there we are. We've got that through. Again, I've just got this tape on here basically to show, or to keep this from unraveling, because this is just a hollow core braid. So I'm going to pull this off, because once it gets buried in there, I don't care basically what it does. But so I've got it through all the way to the base. I'm going to pass this back through this wire braid here, and this is going to be the trickiest part, because I got to keep that rope from coming free, and I've got to milk it all the way through that core. The entry point is going to be key right here, and I got to make sure that it's good and wide open. But I'm going to get it to this point just by pulling down on this. We've already got an issue. I may wind up having to tape it just to be sure that we get it through. No, I think I'm just going to go ahead and tape it. So basically I've just got to, like I said, Chinese finger trap, get that through that core. Got our dogs barking, guard dogs. And again, this is the hardest part. Once we get this through, it's smooth sailing. If you do screw it up, all you gotta do is pull this loop end out, this tag end out. So we are into the core. We are milking. I don't know if you can see that going down, but we are there, we're milking. I've actually got the tape part right here to the end where I want it to exit, which is great. We are there, and we are out. So basically what I'm going to do here, if I can get this tape to undo, I think that's Dad checking the cows. That tape held well. Okay, so basically it took me a little bit to get the tape off, but I've got it out. So now all I basically have to do is milk this core back down, and I got to make sure that it covers this end here. Or what you could do, and I know that a lot of people, this is something that a lot of people do, is just kind of taper this. You don't really have to taper the amsteel, but you know, some people kind of do as well. But basically you want to make sure that this cord buries. If you have to cut off a little bit of it to make sure that it completely buries in on itself. But basically you're just going to slide this part down. I'm going to cut just a piece off here. This stuff is crazy stuff. Scissors are not very good either. Good enough. So anyway, I'm going to start milking this down. Slides up on itself here, like Brummel slice. So this is for the rope mod. What you're going to do next, go straight into the Whoopie sling. A little bit more difficult, but if you're only going to do a rope mod, most people do about, I think they wind up doing about 6 feet for the rope mod. If you're just going to freehand tie the loop, if that's going to be the case, you're not going to use the 12-foot of rope like we told you to earlier. But we're going to go straight into the Whoopie sling after we do this. We're going to run over and we're going to check this rope mod on the tree and see how it holds up. Alright, so basically this is the rope mod. We're going to take that, slide that over the Versa button. It's going to be there. I'm going to set this up. I'm not using aiders or anything right now. We're not going over aiders. We're just basically going over the rope. So what people are doing to get away with not having a 3/8 is you're going to go through, back around on yourself through the loop. Why I want to use a Whoopie sling is this seems like it might be a little bit of a pain in the butt. Now I would never make this 12-foot long, but just for the sake of not having to do this over and over again, we're going to do it this way. So we're through. We're going to make a loop, make another loop, and then we're going to pull through. Pull our tag in this way. Just a little bit overkill. I'm going to pull this out, basically kick it down and lock it in. See if it kicks out and see what it does. It gets pretty sturdy. I mean, once it gets to a certain position, I guess you can't see through my trees, but I mean, they don't feel like they're kicking out. It feels pretty sturdy. And again, my Versa button is not the 3/8 style or the 3/8 shank length that people are talking about. But I do know that to kick it up and loosen it up, you can do it that way. But again, that's no slip. It's not bad.